Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Shut Your Mouth Lounge podcast. Today we have got very, very few topics, and it's probably going to be a short episode, but I mean, you and the audience are probably happy with that considering the ridiculous length of several of these episodes. Today, it's just me and Addy. Though Pink might come later. He seems to be pretty busy right now. For today's episode, we'll be going over, well, there's a little bit of news that's kind of relevant. Some of the stuff we had intended to just talk with Pink, but he's not here, so we can't do that. So I guess we'll just start off with the usual topic. What have you done in the past couple of weeks? And you can go first, Daddy, because you got Fallout to talk about again.
Yeah, so I finished Fallout.
Which Fallout?
New Vegas.
Okay, which faction did you go with for the ending?
First I went with the NCR because I told you that I would. I wasn't satisfied with that ending because reasons. So then I went back, restarted the whole game, made up a new character and all that, and then went with the independent ending, and that was alright.
Huh. So let me ask, did you get any party members other than Boone and Rex?
Yes, I got Eddie and Ganondorf.
Okay. Oh, did you have Ganon on the NCR ending?
Technically.
Okay, yeah, because Ganon gets fucked over super fucking hard in the NCR ending. So that, I can see if that's why you didn't like the NCR ending.
But yeah, House I just kinda killed. I mean, I have 3 saves now of Fallout. In all of the saves, I've killed House so far.
Yeah, I guess House could be seen as kind of a difficult person to get along with, maybe. But I always went with House because the Legion, obviously, I fucking hated, and the NCR, I never kind of, I don't know. If I did a playthrough again now, I'd probably go with the NCR because my opinions have changed. But at the time, I went with House because the NCR had lots of corrupt assholes, and the Legion is, of course, full of sociopathic monsters.
Well, yeah, but then you also have Yesman, and he's whatever. I mean, he's basically House without House. So, I think he's the best option.
I mean, at the same time, it's still just kind of making your player character the dictator in place of House, and you don't know how well that would work.
Well, yeah.
I never went for the independent ending because it seemed kind of like relatively generic, just keep anyone happy, in comparison to the other 3, which force you to make a definitive choice. Like, anyone can be like, yeah, I want to rule the world because I trust me. But, well, if you only got Ganon, Eddie, you missed out on a lot of side party members.
I know, but I kinda rushed through it the second time around, and the first time around I just went with whoever I found, so...
Yeah. I will say that you should probably get Raul and or Veronica on your next playthrough, just because they're, I think, really interesting. And also, they've got Danny Trejo and Felicia Day for voice actors, and they both do pretty good jobs.
Out of those 2, I only actually know Danny Trejo, and I only know him because of Def Jam, so... Okay, that's a lie, because I think I saw him in Spy Kids. That's a movie that exists.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of the kids of our generation grew up on that movie. But you never seen Machete?
Nope.
Huh. I'm curious. Okay, what did you do with Benny on either playthrough?
I killed him. On my first playthrough, I blew his head off with a ballistic fist, and on my second playthrough, I shot him in the head with a silenced pistol.
Okay, did you just shoot him while you're in the Tops Casino, or did you go through the whole thing of him getting captured by the Legion and everything?
First time around, I got him captured because I didn't know that you can actually kill him in the Tops. And then on my second playthrough, I got Swank to lure him up on to the 13th floor and then shot him there.
Ah, all right. That's interesting. Like what to do with Benny is probably one of the most interesting cases of every playthrough. It's going to shape up a little bit differently. And Benny's also got some kind of hilarious ways you can kill him. Like if you're a chick and you took the Black Widow perk, you can sleep with him and then like fucking break his neck while he's during sex. It's hilarious. I fucking love that. That's the thing I always loved about the old Fallout games, how they'd let you handle problems differently, and not every problem had to be handled with shooting and or just passing skill checks. But that's Fallout 4 for you. Shit, Fallout 4 doesn't
Yeah.
even let you pass skill checks; you just shoot. Blah. So you got New Vegas done, and we talked already a lot about New Vegas last week.
Yeah.
But did you do anything else?
I tried finishing Assassin's Creed Revelations for the fourth time, but I burnt out midway, as you know. So there's that. I gave Trials of the Blood Dragon and Super Hat a chance because they're free. So
All right. Trials of the Blood Dragon. Let's hear about that first.
um I mean, I like the trials part and the other part, the whole shooting on the bicycle part. I disliked, but I knew that I disliked it going in, so whatever.
All right, but it's still Trials at the end of the day, and there's always fun you can have with Trials,
Well,
even if
yeah,
even if only from the highly experimental levels.
but then there's also parts with the freaking jetpacks and trying not to have a bomb blow up while there you have to freaking drive on the shittiest road in the world with all the bombs in the world on it.
Well, that's
And
difficulty, Eddie. Then that's kind of what they're aiming for. Let's see.
but yeah, otherwise it's an alright game. I mean, not worth more than $10 if even that, but I mean I got it for free, so whatever.
Yeah, and Super Hot, which you hated, right?
I less hated it actually, and more was just bored with it.
How could you get bored with Super Hot?
I mean, it's an interesting concept, and I mean, even the way it was pulled off is pretty interesting, but then I just don't care. Like, I get that it's a video game in its own universe and all that,
Oh, I totally
and
ignored the story aspect entirely. I didn't give a shit about that. It was all about the gameplay, easily, all about the gameplay.
yeah, but for me, I can't really look past. Well, I can look past shitty gameplay or shitty story, but I can look past both. And I'm not saying that Superhot has a bad story and bad gameplay. Just that basically putting me in a room with people and telling me to kill them won't satisfy me long enough for me to actually play through a game. And the story, it was there, but then I need to kill people for no reason in particular to get to it. So
Well, it's not about the story. It's about the way you go about doing it, the way you kill them, because that's supposed to be where it's interesting, and that is where it's interesting, because Superhot lets you experiment with that so much, and you're going to die a lot because the game's deceptively difficult, but you learn a little bit every time, and because it's always going in slow motion, it's easy to comprehend and figure out, this is where I fucked up.
yeah, but yeah, my main thing against it was that I just got bored. Like the I think I did like 3 or so levels after you get locked out because you need a new crack for the game.
A new what? Your accent kind of fucked that word up.
A new crack.
I still can't hear you properly.
A new crack. Like X crack.
I Your accent is fucking that word all up, man. Can you just type it into the chat, maybe?
Yes. 1 second.
But I've got to play Super Hot
There.
for a little bit. A new crack. The fuck does that mean?
You need to crack the game to be able to play it in the game's own universe or whatever. So you get um denied your your access gets denied like on the start of the game, and third guy sends you a new one that makes it work or whatever.
So you just need to enter some code, basically.
No, you don't even need to do that. It just downloads and you can do it, you can play. But
Okay,
they
I don't
call
get
it a
what
crack.
you're
So
complaining about here.
yeah,
I don't get what you're complaining about here. What you're describing is basically a loading screen in between levels.
I'm not complaining about it. I'm saying that after that point, I played like 3 or 4 more levels, and that's where I stopped.
Oh, all right. I personally, I played the I got to play a few levels out of the game. I don't remember when or why. It might have been they released a demo. It might have been like way back in the day. I used to pay a lot more attention to indie game build-ups, and I might have been able to play like the original, like sort of, I don't want to say beta, but it might have been like the sort of beta for the game way back in the day. They released some early versions, and I might have gotten to play that. I felt it was really enjoyable. I felt it was really innovative, but I felt that ultimately it was very much a game that is for, a person who focuses entirely on the gameplay and becoming a master at it. And I recognized that it wasn't for me, but I wouldn't declare it to be bad at all. I'd say that it's good for what it's trying to be. Absolutely. And the story, like, yeah, the story is hokey and cheesy and corny, but it's one of those games where the story might as well just not be there. It doesn't matter. It's about playing this slow motion game where you fucking shoot people in the head and stab them and punch them. And you die in one hit, but so do they. And you can throw guns at people, and upon dying, they throw their guns at you, and you catch them out of the midair and then headshot their buddies. It's a game about being a crazy, over-the-top action flick in slow motion, so that it's actually humanly doable. I guess I can kind of get why you wouldn't like it, but I can't agree in you saying that it's bad.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying
Well,
that I don't.
If
To me, there's difference in finding something bad and saying that it's bad, and finding something bad and saying that I just don't see where people are coming from. And with this game, I'd say it's more the second, because
I mean, I think it's easy to see where they're coming from, though. There's always been a long-standing pattern of games that don't have very much story at all, and it's all about the gameplay and perfecting the gameplay.
well, yeah, that's just fighting games. But then with fighting games, there's normally, Then again, I don't know. I because bloody hell, words. I don't do them.
Well, I mean, there's platformers and all kinds of games that you just play for the gameplay, and you're not even right about the fighting game aspect, because there's plenty of
Yeah,
fighting games with big stories. Because I mean, Mortal Kombat is investing more into the story every day, and a fucking Tekken and Soul Calibur both once upon a time had good stories. Nowadays, it's a different story. Nowadays, it's entirely different. Nowadays, it's shit ass. But once upon a time, they had good stories.
well, hey, at least we'll still not playing the Tekken movie.
Yeah, the Tekken movie and the King of there's like 3 movies that are made of Japanese fighting. I get all confused and cannot remember which one is which. I want to say it's Tekken, King of Fighters, and Dead or Alive that I get their movies confused all the time.
Of those, I saw Dead or Alive and Tekken, and I don't know how you mix the two up, because Dead or Alive is on a beach and Tekken is in Kazuya's asshole or whatever.
I could assume that the Dead or Alive movie would be on a beach. That was a pretty obvious one. I think it also had Kevin Nash, didn't it?
I don't know. He might have been like Baymax or whatever. freaking name of the guys.
You mean Bass?
Yeah, probably.
Fucking Baymax? Are you serious? Do you know who Baymax is?
That Disney thing, isn't it? The white one.
The white thing from Big Hero 6. The big, puffy, Stay Puffed Cream Man.
Yeah, that's around the time when I stopped watching movies. So I don't actually know what's happened.
Well, if you give a
with
shit
those.
about if you give a shit about story, you should probably be watching more movies than playing video games. I mean,
The
especially
thing is,
nowadays
the
the
thing,
Dark Souls guys are coming in and dominating and saying that video games should be about get good. You know, now is more of a time to get out of gaming than on any other.
well, yeah, but then the thing is with movies and me is that I have no freaking idea what makes a good story, and it's not like I have a freaking thing for, deciding whether or not something is good or bad. Because
Watch
with games,
watch
yeah,
more good movies and watch more bad movies. You will figure it out. Because like that is definitely something that it takes experience. Because I mean, there is a world of different. Even the person with the worst sense of storytelling can tell you that The Room is a fucking garbage movie, and Schindler's List or what have you is a great movie. The question is, you just gotta watch enough movies like The Room to know what's bad, and you gotta watch enough movies like Schindler's List to know what's good.
well, yeah, but then the question also comes up is that how many times do I have to watch things like Kuka Saves the Kids until I'll know what's bad and what's good?
Well, you don't really have to watch a whole lot of bad movies, and the thing is with movies, that if you watch a lot of movies, you're going to run into bad movies. Particularly if you watch movies with friends, because your friends are going to have some shitty taste in movies.
My friends are, well, my friends, quote unquote friends, my classmates rather. Yeah, my classmates love horror movies, so
There are some good fucking horror movies out there. Absolutely. I mean, there's some hokey, cheesy ones. But I mean, even the goofy ones like, what have you, Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street are still like fun in that goofy, stupid way.
well, yeah,
And
but they like things like freaking The Happening, freaking 5. I don't know if that's an actual title. I'm just
uh,
making stuff up. I don't know what's come out.
if The Happening had sequels, I would shit. The Happening is the movie that everyone makes fun of Mark Wahlberg's acting for. It was the movie that destroyed M. Night Shyamalan's career.
Oh,
That movie, yeah, where the plants are trying to kill people. I think I
oh
watched.
yeah, yeah.
I got to watch that movie years and years and years ago because it was just something that my family ran into while surfing the channels, and they're like, "It's Mark Wahlberg. It's got to be good." And I said, "No, the fuck it won't." And guess what? No, the fuck it wasn't. So there's that. But I get what you're saying, and that
Yeah.
your friends are probably into Paranormal Activity and The Conjuring and what have you. But I think there's still some merit to watching those.
Probably
It,
unfriended as well.
I don't know. I do not know. I don't know about. I heard about there being a weird social media horror movie. I don't care. I
I've watched enough parts of it to know that I don't really want to. I mean, the thing with Unfriended is that we could make it. Like we need freaking web cameras, and that's about it. And we could make it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. I'd say there's a difference in that. Presumably, if it's this successful, somebody knew how to do horror pacing, and I don't know how any of us are with writing or pacing or any of that or directing. So that's an entirely different thing. I will say that the entirety of the horror genre now, the Blumhouse horror movies, are just horrifically low budget because you can just do anything you want with horror now. You can do the stupid Paranormal Activity thing where you have, fucking just a guy floating above his bed, and that's what's supposed to be scary. Or you see just a little girl in the corner, and that's what's supposed to be scary, and that's it. And like that, how you'd only need to pay $50 to get a little girl to stand in a corner for a scene, if that. You'd only need to pay, how much. Like, it'd be a really simple visual effect to have a guy floating off a bed. That too. Like that one, you can just do with simple video editing software. Just edit out whatever the fuck was in there. That you can do that with Photoshop. I mean,
Yeah.
comparative to the horror movies of yesteryear, where you'd have The Thing by John Carpenter, and they had those big horrifying monsters that must have taken fucking loads out of the special effects budget to make. So horror has definitely changed. But I'd say there's still I think there's just about there's probably something to learn from just about anything you can do, which is why it's always good to try new experiences, I suppose. But I'd also say that you should probably go out with your classmates.
That's not a thing that I will do. I hate people and I hate freaking going out. So, yeah.
It's not healthy behavior, man. It's not.
I know that it's not healthy, but I don't give a shit. Long as I'm not freaking paranoiac and can't even freaking leave the house, scared of everything that's going on outside, then I'm fine.
But is that all you've been doing? Playing more Assassin's Creed and Fallout?
I think. I mean, there's also Rainbow Six, but then we'll come back to that later. So yeah.
Yep. All right. On my end, I recently got to finish Persona 5, and that has been a long time coming because legitimately a year ago I got the game, and I played through all the way to the second to last dungeon, and let me tell you, the fucking second to last dungeon sucks ass. Super hard. And like I had such trouble trudging through it that I gave up for a year. I finally came back. I finally fucking suffered my way through it, finished the last dungeon, which was way easier. It was more difficult. It had much, much worse enemies. But for me, it was easier because I cheesed my way to level 90 earlier in the game. But got the game finished. And I will say that it has a better ending than Persona 4, possibly a better ending than Persona 3. I mean, it averts a lot of the expectations of a Persona game. And I'd overall say that it's still a fucking great Persona game. I'd say it fits roughly around the same area as Persona 3 for me. Like, Persona 4 is still the best Persona to me. And Soon is going to disagree with me on that because he fucking loves Persona 5. But Persona 4 is still the best to me. But Persona 5 is a great fucking game. Regardless, if you've got a PS4 or a PS3 or a PS Vita, you should buy it. Now, I say that full well knowing do you have a PS3?
Nope.
For some reason, I thought you did.
You probably did because I said that I'd either get a PS3 or Rainbow Six. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's a great game, and it's kind of something I can't talk about at length, though, because you've never played a Persona game. And I don't imagine it's something you're terrifically interested in.
I mean, I've played visual novels. And by played, I mean watched, so I guess that's something.
There's a world of difference between Persona and your usual stupid Japanese bullshit. I mean, like, I think a large part of why Persona is good is because it doesn't fall for a lot of the stupid Japanese bullshit. And it's a lot more palatable to Western audiences than nearly anything else Atlas makes. And I think it's great for that. Like, Persona, it definitely shows that Soon likes Persona, and Steve is looking into getting Persona at some point. I don't know if he's actually gotten it yet. And I think Gramps has it now, too. Like, that all of us got that game, a game that would ordinarily be considered a Brian game. So it's not like stupid Japanese bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd say no, your visual novel, whatever nonsense, is not relevant. What else have I done? I got started on... I picked up a copy of Prince of Persia for PS2, the original. and I decided to go ahead and finish Beyond Good and Evil for PS2. And I
By the
started
way,
it. I got an hour into it, and my fucking video cable for my PS2 exploded. So that's great. I don't know what.
did
Excuse me.
did did you did you get the 3D remake thing for PS2?
So the 3D. Oh no 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 no!
Prince of Persia.
No, I got the Sands of Time, the one that everybody loved that had oh, what's his face, Yuri Lowenthal voicing the prince and everything.
Is it the one with
The one that the
him
movie,
having
the one that
oh
would,
the movie? Okay,
the
never
one,
mind then.
yeah, the one that the movie was based on. Yeah.
Because on Xbox, you can buy the 3D remake of the first game for I don't even know, like freaking $5.
Yeah, I don't think that's on PS2, and even if it was, I wouldn't give.
But yeah, and you can also get Beyond Good and Evil, the HD remake. But whatever.
Yeah, I don't care. I got it for like $5 at my local mom and pop shop, so it doesn't matter. Beyond
All
Good and
right then.
Evil is a good game. I'm still not able to make much progress through it because I'm gonna have to look into what the fuck's going wrong with my PS2. But I mean, it's a good game. A little bit weird in parts because the game definitely feels like it's got a very what's the term, pacifist air to it, and it feels like it might be going on a vegetarian or vegan motive at some point, and yet the game very clearly lets you just brutally murder people and doing it in comical ways. Like it's that old PS2 video game thing where you can murder enemies in the most comical ways possible and just torture them.
I don't remember any vegetarian or vegan parts in the game.
Oh, is that? Oh, have you finished the game?
Yeah, I got it for free with Xbox Live. That's how I know that it's available on Xbox One.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, I thought maybe there was going to be a vegetarian vegan. Where
You cut
I'm in,
out.
I thought maybe there would be a vegetarian vegan thing going on because where I am in the game now, I just found where they have put Paige in a crate and are shipping him off to like be turned into. I figured they'd turn him into food.
Oh, so you're in like that factory thing.
Yes, I have. So I'm that early in the game, so try not to spoil too much.
I don't remember that much. I finished the game like 2 years ago, so
Ooh,
like I remember going around the map with the ship on the water, and I remember going to places. I'm not sure how much I could spoil without it actually being much of a spoiler. Like, let's just say that the city
yeah.
isn't the
Don't
only place you go.
keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. I'd rather go without spoilers here because this is one of the definitive like big games of the PS2 that I missed out on, and it's supposed to have a great story for a PS2 game. So I'm excited and interested to see it, like to try it out, to see it to its
So yeah,
end.
the last puzzle is pretty hard, or at least it was hard for me. So unless you're freaking dumber than me, you should have no problem with it. Is what I'm saying.
Presumably, yes. I think.
But
Well, it is a very strange game in terms of the combat is like very like kind of simplistic for a game that focuses itself on the melee combat a lot. The fact that there is just a hit and a dodge button is kind of odd, at least to me. And I don't know how advanced they can really get with that because so far there haven't been many advanced enemies. There was the big stupid skeleton thing that I think they're called the Doms that you just wail on them and they die. And there's the soldiers with the shields that you just have to wait for them to attack and then hit them while they're recovering.
I don't think they get any more advanced than that than the soldiers,
Oh
or at least I
well,
don't remember. I don't remember any enemies more advanced that you don't have to beat through puzzles.
okay, so that's kind of weird because that means like as Jade gets upgraded throughout the game and as she picks up more hearts, that means near the end of the game I'd assume you just don't have to bother with stealthing past the soldiers at all. You can just always fight them because there's no
By
reason
the
not
end,
to.
by the end, there are no soldiers.
Oh, all
Well,
right.
I mean, there are in the city, but where the last puzzle takes place, I don't remember there being any combative. Yeah, I don't remember there being any combat at all.
That's
like
probably
I,
a. I could see that being a thing where at the end of the game, the only threats are just insta kills. So they force you to stealth or they force you to do puzzles.
yeah, and what I remember, and actually what I said, what I'm saying is bloody coughing. What I'm saying is the last puzzle I think is actually the second to last because I know I struggled a lot with a light puzzle that's at the end of the game, but I do remember there being another light puzzle after that. So maybe I'm mixing things up.
Maybe. But I don't know what else I've been doing. I got in a little bit of Total War Warhammer 2, but I mean, it's getting difficult now for me to get into that game, not only because I've played so much, but also because like it is a fucking huge time commitment to play that game. It's going to take you like 100 hours to finish a playthrough as a faction, especially if you want to play out the actual battles and not just auto resolve them. And like, it feels like I don't. The older I get, the more it feels like I don't have time for video games.
Yeah.
And the more it feels like I should be playing games that are shorter and I'll get my time and money's worth out of them immediately.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm probably going to play that game a fuck ton more, especially when it turns to summer and I'll have more time. And particularly because they're running through an issue right now. They had a faction they introduced in the first game, the Norska, that when they were translating from the first game to the second game and reintroducing all the stuff from the first game into the second game, like the orcs and the wood elves and what have you, it turns out that they had coded and scripted the Norska to work like doesn't work at all with the new game in its coding and scripting at all. And they're legitimately having to go through and remake an entire fucking race that they made for the first game again. And so the development on the game has pretty much halted entirely until like May, which is sad because that means that the most recent update, the Tomb King update in January, is going to be the last new content they'll get for a while. And we're actually about halfway from there to May, so we're getting closer, but it's still kind of suckish. But it'll be a good time.
Well,
Once they reintroduce Norska, I'm probably going to get into Warhammer 2 a ton more. And I'm thinking when Norska is reintroduced, I'm going to either start up a Twitch account and start streaming through that because Twitch gives you a lot more space for just long-running gameplay that doesn't really have a whole lot going on. Or I will try to get recording software by then and do a Let's Play. But
I mean, there's always OBS.
Yes, there always is, and I feel like you and I are going to have to talk about that after the end of this podcast session because we've got a little bit of shop talk to go on after the podcast session, but we better not record.
By the way, there's also a new Total War game coming out.
Yes,
Thrones of Britannia.
Yes, Thrones of Britannia and the Three Kingdoms will both be coming out soon. I
have not heard of the Three Kingdoms.
Three Kingdoms is about the romance of the Three Kingdoms, which was
also China.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's Dynasty Warriors. If Dynasty Warriors was actually a realistic strategy game.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like I'm going to recommend Total War Warhammer to everybody I can, and your computer I don't think is good enough to run it, but I mean still, someday you should probably look into it just because it's probably the best strategy game that's ever been made. Purely, if you're going to play a strategy game at any point in your life, you should play Total War Warhammer.
I might want to look into Britannia because from what I've seen, Britannia seems just basically Warhammer with actual people. So,
well, yeah, if your thing is realism, if you want realism, then there's years and years of Total War games, and I can I can buy you during one of the Steam sales. I can buy you the original Total War Rome for like $1, and that game you could definitely run on your computer. That game came out in like
Well, yeah.
2000,
Oh well, then yeah, it would probably run.
and I'm not sure if that game lets you play as Hungary, but I feel like it might.
I mean, whether I'm just gonna be with the Romans anyway.
Yeah, probably, but there's multiple Roman factions because you can pick Caesar, or you can pick Mark Antony, or you can pick whoever.
Oh,
So there's multiple Roman factions for you to pick. You're probably going to pick Caesar, but Mark
I'm
Antony is
actually
there.
probably not gonna pick season. Then again, if it's just him or Mark Anthony, then I might.
There's definitely multiple. I think you can definitely play as like Viking factions or the Gauls or what have you. I don't know if the game lets you play as any African factions. That'd be interesting. But the Total War franchise is definitely a very, very good franchise, I think. I've only just now gotten into it because the realistic stuff did not appeal to me because it felt like it was too realistic and too mundane for me. But I love Total Warhammer's mix of like, you've got the crazy orcs and dragons and dwarves and elves and what have you, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it uses realistic battlefield tactics. So it feels like it's another world, but it's still realistic enough to immerse you, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, with the new games that are coming out, I don't think I'll pick them up because I'm not much of a realistic Total War player. But I am interested in Three Kingdoms, firstly because outside of Dynasty Warriors, we don't have a whole lot of fiction in the West, at least. That revolves around the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which I think is a bit of a pity because the Romance of the Three Kingdoms seems like a spectacularly interesting war. And also because the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, I personally think, this is my theory, I think they're making it because they're about to introduce Warhammer's equivalent of the China faction in their games soon. And I think they're doing the Romance of the Three Kingdoms so that they can go ahead and make some assets of Chinese warriors and then reuse them for Warhammer.
I mean, they might as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I think that right now, a big problem we have with gaming is that making games is way too fucking expensive. That once upon a time, making a model in a video game was like, a guy with a box face and like shitty, like 360p textures all over him, right?
Just Crash Bandicoot. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like, yeah, characters like Crash Bandicoot who are 5 polygons assembled in a bizarre shape. Not even like textured at all, just colored polygons. And now you've got fucking Rainbow Six Siege, which is really good looking, and it's like on the low end for the PS4 and Xbox One. Because you've got games like, fucking Metal Gear Solid 5 or
Assassin's Creed Origins, which is apparently in 4K. I'm doing hand quotes.
yeah, or Assassin's Creed Origins is beautiful looking. You've got all these amazing looking games. And so now people have to model every individual bit of like the slightest blade of grass. And it's only going to get worse with time. So
Yeah.
I think the way of the future for the industry to make it where it is still economically feasible to make these games is asset recycling. Recycling, you don't need there are some new models you have to make for every game, but you don't need to make a new fucking lamp model for every game, right? You don't need to make
Yeah.
a new fucking, concrete floor texture for every game. Reuse assets. It's got to be the way of the future in gaming.
Then I then again I really am waiting for the Fallout textures in the next Elder Scrolls and vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely. Bethesda should definitely keep to it because those games are really fucking expensive and intricate to make. I don't know how much asset reuse there can be between Elder Scrolls and Fallout, considering that Elder Scrolls is fantasy and Fallout is sci-fi. And I mean, even their basic environments, like Elder Scrolls is usually a lot of green or a lot of, grasslands, a lot of forests, a lot of snowy tundras type areas, whereas Fallout is mostly desert wasteland. I mean, they can absolutely, if the next Elder Scrolls game happens to be set in that desert out there that Is it the Khajiit or the Argonians that live in the desert? The Argonians live in a swamp. It's the Khajiit that live in the desert, right?
I
No,
wouldn't know. I never played the Elder Scrolls games, so you're asking the wrong person.
it's the Red Guard that live in the desert. So if they go back to the Red Guard desert, then they can absolutely reuse some assets from Fallout. But other than that, like Fallout, what fills out the environment is going to be like packets of files, desks, lamps, fucking lunch boxes. Elder Scrolls, an environment is going to be filled with old old glasses of wine and beer, helmets, swords, old bar tables and bar stools. So
Old
if they,
bartenders.
yeah, old bartenders who would sell you their sister if they had one. I fucking hate the Skyrim dialogue. It's the worst. Really, any of the Elder
You come to
Scrolls.
the Cloud District often. That shitty joke just made me choke.
Yep. Arrow in the knee. Did somebody steal your sweet roll? So on and so forth. So many fucking terrible
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls dialogues. I don't know. Elder Scrolls is one game franchise that, like, it was fun. It was more fun for me as a kid. But now that I'm getting old, I just don't find enjoyment in it. And when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, I mean, like, it depends on what kind of improvements they might make. But as I get older, the more with RPGs, the more I'm more interested in story and immersion and interesting characters. And that is three areas where Elder Scrolls is really fucking lacking. Because Elder Scrolls is about, you see those mountains there, you can climb them or what have you. But there's no characters. All the characters are shitty and two-dimensional, and most of them are copied and pasted repeatedly throughout the world. The story is like, hey, there's a big evil guy, go kill him. And immersion, you can fucking... In order to become a good blacksmith, you have to make 1,000 daggers or what have you. So immersion isn't there either, really. But
Yeah.
Fallout, sadly, like as much as I love Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, Bethesda very clearly wants Fallout to go the same way because Elder Scrolls fucking prints money, and if they can get two of those franchises going, they will absolutely do it. And it's kind of sad, but it's the way it is.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the settlement defense in Fallout or freaking Elder Scrolls 6.
That would actually be cool. That is one thing I want them to improve and see where they can go with it, is the settlement feature from Fallout 4. Because the Fallout 4 settlement feature wasn't very good. You could build, and that was fun. I really enjoyed building, but there was no management. You couldn't get the NPCs to have jobs. The NPCs didn't have skills. They didn't have personalities. It was just, hey, here's a gun, walk around. You'd get guys who would manning the shops or what have you, and you'd get people who would farm the crops, but they didn't really matter. It was there to keep the tech going.
But then this brings up the question of whether or not it's better to actually try and include, basically just nameless helpers as characters, because, in my opinion, the assassin recruit system in Assassin's Creed is similar, and they ruined that in 3, in my opinion.
The Assassin's Creed system wasn't spectacular, but it was there. They had names and they had skill levels, and you could send them on missions. Now, there's plenty of improvements to be made there. They chose not to make the improvements and instead just scrap the system altogether. That was the choice they made.
Actually, they tried improving on it with 3, but in 3, what that brought is that there were no actual random, just getting people off the streets to train them. There were... Bloody hell, this coughing is freaking annoying. Right, so... There were only story-driven recruits who were included as side missions.
I do not remember this system at all. I played 3. I played 3 maybe the halfway point, and I do not remember it at all. I just remember...
I have proof. I have proof that there are recruits in Assassin's Creed 3. Only they are named as actual characters, quote unquote. And because they were characters and because stuff, it actually just ruined the system, because the thing with the Brotherhood system is that sure it wasn't really good, and sure it was just there, but I actually felt more of a connection with the people who had no character just because they were kind of expendable or whatever. You know, if they died, they died. I can get another one on the next street.
Yeah.
But with Assassin's Creed 3, I don't think that they can even die.
Oh no, absolutely not. If they're named characters with personalities, the game will not let them off.
Yeah, and that for me removes more than them not having actual characters, because I can make the characters up for myself. I can make any of them as much of a badass as I want them to be. But if they make a mistake or something, they die. That's it. They actually like people. In 3, they are superhuman, and you know, you can make the argument that the main character is superhuman as well, and sure, they are. Connor and Ezio are freaking walking armies, but freaking coughing. But yeah, but the thing is, they're the main character, for one, and for two, I mean, you can die as well.
Well, yeah, but you respawn. They don't get that same luxury.
Well, with the recruits in 3, I don't think that they die at all, so they
Ah.
are actually more powerful than you. So
Yeah, I did completely. That I'd never heard of that. Never even seen it in my time playing the game. I think I think that with Skyrim, not Skyrim. What am I talking about? Elder Scrolls 6. I think they will probably just scrap the system because it was very awkward during Fallout 4, and I think everyone knows about the infamous, this settlement needs your help joke. So I
yeah,
think they're probably just going to scrap the system, like Assassin's Creed did, and it'll probably just go back to normal, and that'll be, neither here nor there. So I don't know. I think that's just about all I've done in the past 2 weeks. So we can't talk about the Infinity War trailer. I will just say that it was kind of neat, but at the same time, I don't really get what people are hyped about. Uh,
it's superheroes. Yay! I don't know.
well, you're never going to catch me being like, oh, I don't give a shit about superheroes. I fucking love the superheroes. But I mean, it's just kind of showing that there's going to be bad things happening. Thanos is going to bring some bad things. And it's showing that, at some point Doctor Strange is going to get tortured, and it's showing that at some point Star-Lord is going to be a dick, which is obvious because it's Star-Lord. That's what he does.
If Thanos is gonna bring bad things, does that mean that he's the director of Venom?
It's not that bad. That's the fucking devil. Oh boy. Let's see. Geralt and Soul Calibur 6. Now, I think you and I are going to have opposite opinions on this one.
I honestly don't care.
Oh, you don't care?
So I don't know. No, I mean,
I
it
thought,
won't make me. It won't make me run out. It won't make me run out and buy the game. But then, with Geralt, I mean, the thing with Geralt is that I honestly don't. I have honestly become so fed up with him that I just don't give a shit about his existence, and it's a happier life.
I'm interested with it. I'm interested with it. Because the Witcher games, I played like the first chapter of Witcher 1, and boy, has that game not aged well at all. Like, it plays like shit. Witcher 2,
I mean, that's just The Witcher.
Witcher 2, I launched it on my computer maybe 5 years ago. It was a different computer, much shittier computer, couldn't run it. Frames were like dropping to fucking 10 all the time. Witcher 3, picked it up for PS4. I've got it right over here. I'm looking at it right now. And I started it up. I did a few quests. I was like, you know what? I'm going to come back and finish this, tomorrow. And I've never played it again. And I think I've mentioned that about The Witcher several times. And it continues to be true. And maybe I'll go back and finish Witcher 3 one day, if only because everyone fucking loves sucking its dick or whatever. And I need to see what it's actually about. But I don't really care. They're not games that strike my interest. They're kind of like just games that I know. They're not spectacular games, but people love to claim that they're the best because they give out lots of free shit, right?
Yeah.
because they don't have DLC. They're $60 games, but they don't have lots of DLC, and they give out lots of free shit. Which
Yeah,
conveniently, Total War also loves to give out lots of free shit, but you don't see them getting praised. Funny about that.
well, that's because they're not action RPGs, not third-person action RPGs.
I guess. But I am really interested in seeing Geralt in Soul Calibur 6 because Geralt's not what I'd consider a well-written character. Geralt's not what I'd consider an interesting character. Geralt's not what I'd consider a good character because Geralt is very much written to be, Mr. Perfect, who's super good at everything, and he's a badass, and he's sexy.
The Infomaniac medieval Aiden Pierce.
Yes. Well, no. Stop saying Aiden Pierce, you fuck. Like, Aiden Pierce is such a nothing character, and you act like he's a good example of anything. Like, I mean, he is white bread. He is one of those fucking white bread protagonists that you see in Call of Duty. Or like a modern Resident Evil, I guess.
Geralt to be, I mean, I've only played through The Witcher 2, so I don't know if they made any good improvements between the games, but to me, Geralt seems like basically just white bread. I mean, sometimes he comes in and says like, okay, maybe something. No. I mean, how other people seem to play The Witcher, or at least, how they act about playing it, is that he's basically an infomaniac, so there's that. He's definitely medieval because fantasy, and the Aiden Pierce part is because he just seems the same to me. Like, to me, Aiden Pierce is not any worse than Geralt.
I think Aiden Pierce is way worse. I think Geralt, I don't like Geralt's character in particular. I mean, I like Geralt's character because he is a character. And I feel like that's one thing that's always been very lacking in video games is characters that aren't just white bread. And I mean, Geralt is like a very poorly written character because he is supposed to be perfect at everything, but he has some semblance of a personality. He has some standards that he has morals that he stands for firmly, and he is obsessive about sex. As obnoxious of a trait as it is, it's a trait, and that's better than most video game protagonists are going to have. But Geralt's a lot like Ezio. Ezio is a better comparison. And I know I can feel you getting pissed on the other side because I'm comparing Geralt to your boy. But Geralt is very much like Ezio if Ezio was a little bit less of a dick.
I don't see it. I mean, I kind of see it, but I still don't see it. Just because Ezio Revelations somewhat gets better.
Well, Geralt in Witcher 3 has gotten a lot better. Because I've played...
I mean, maybe I wouldn't know.
What I've played of Witcher 3, like, Geralt is much more, like, focused, determined, and kind of pissy.
I mean, this makes it sound like he improved because, judging by my playthroughs of Witcher 2, he just kind of was. Like, he stumbled upon this random-ass town. They were like, help, we need somebody to kill this monster. He went and killed the monster. Then he moved on. And that's all that he did.
I mean, that's all right. I mean, like, it's kind of... I don't know. It's rough to say. Because I think that for what Geralt is, I think it is nice to have a video game protagonist who is just kind of a wanderer who helps people as he goes by. But I've not played Witcher 2, so I don't know if it's like played up, whether or not he has any actual character in the interactions, whether he's doing it out of like the good of his heart or for pay, or if he's just doing it because video game.
I'd say the latter too, from what I remember.
Well, even if he's doing it explicitly for pay, that's still more interesting than just doing it because video game.
But he still just does it because video game. Because, I mean, it depends. Some things he does because pay. Other things he does because video game.
Well, that's more than an Elder Scroll protagonist will do. Because an Elder Scroll protagonist will do it because video game.
Yeah, I give him that credit. He's better than the insert yourself characters.
Yes, absolutely. Anything is better than the insert yourself characters, other than maybe Sonic or Bubsy. But
the only reason I'm not okay with trashing on Sonic is because his voice is Roger Craig Smith, but then I just like Roger Craig Smith and not Sonic, so
Oh my god, Roger Craig Smith voices Sonic?
yes.
Roger Craig Smith is my new least favorite thing. Because I already didn't like Ezio. I already hated Chris Redfield. But Sonic 2? Jesus.
He also voices a lot of cartoon characters.
He voices a lot of white bread characters is what he does. Ugh. Chris Redfield is the ultimate white bread. Now let's see.
I don't think even he likes Chris Redfield, to be honest.
No one should. To be fair, I think they switched out his voice actor yet again. So now Chris Redfield has been voiced by a different person in every game. So, because he's so white bread that they can just attach any white guy with a slightly grizzled voice and it works. I fucking hate Chris Redfield. But anyways,
Watch Resident Evil next as Hideo Kojima takes on the role of Chris Redfield.
yeah. But there's I think that Geralt's going to be interesting in Soul Calibur 6. Firstly, because he's going to fit nicely in the roster, I think. Because anything, it's been pointed out before by Pink, but anything is better than fucking Darth Vader, Yoda, and Starkiller. Anything. Like, anything's better than Spawn, you know? Because they didn't fucking fit.
Yeah. Spawn.
I mean, everyone on the FOS hates Zelda. I don't know why, but they do. But even then, you have to admit, Link fits way better into the Soul Calibur roster than Spawn or fucking Starkiller or Darth Vader.
Well, yeah, but then there's also things like having Ezio in 5.
Ezio fit better than Spawn and Darth Vader.
I mean, I don't know, he was weirdly close range.
You mean long range?
No.
He had the
he had the crossbow. But yeah, actually never mind. He did have the crossbow.
Ezio worked at any range. I think Ezio was an interesting character for Soul Calibur because he wielded a variety of weapons instead of one. So a large part of what made Ezio interesting as a Soul Calibur character was his ability to work at different ranges.
Another thing that made him interesting is that he was just a cosplayer.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you looked at Ezio's face in Soul Calibur 5?
No, he looked the same as always.
Not to me.
He looked the same as always. Ezio has a very generic face.
I mean, maybe I just haven't looked at actual Assassin's Creed Ezio in the last couple of, I don't know how many times I've spent playing it, but yeah.
He is bearded Italian white man. That is it. It's not a.
I know. I know, but
it's not a very inspired design.
But I still remember there being a big difference between his face in Assassin's Creed and his face in Soul Calibur.
I don't think there was. I mean, partially because when Bandai Namco makes a fighting game, they always do really well with faces. Like, they're always very well detailed. So I'm pretty sure Bandai Namco would not have fucked up Ezio's face. But the thing is, Geralt he fits. So thank fucking God that we got him and not, what's your stupid example you kept using? Rugal Bernstein? Yeah, thank God we didn't get that.
I mean, with Noctis and Tekken, we might as well have.
Yeah, we might as well. And there's no telling. They may go the same DLC plan for Soul Calibur they did for Tekken, and we get all kinds of crazy shit. I mean, shit, Noctis...
Play as the Daytona car.
Yeah.
Only a Soul Calibur 6.
Does Daytona even exist anymore?
I don't think it does.
Yeah, I think most every racing franchise outside of Mario Kart and Gran Turismo is dead.
Forza's still alive, kinda. I mean, Horizon is a thing.
Right, Forza. I mean, even fucking Need for Speed and Burnout are dead now.
Burnout with a good reason.
Yeah, I heard that last one was dog shit. But I think...
right, there's Flat Out. The one series nobody's ever heard of outside of me.
Is Flat Out the one where it has the goofy mode where you can... try and like launch your driver out of the car and see how far he gets?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, the fourth one came out like last year or 2 years ago, something like that.
A franchise like that seems like it would have been a goofy, like specifically for PS2 type franchise. Because nowadays people don't find as much fun in like torturing NPCs like that. That's kind of weird. I
I mean, for some reason it got revived after 3. 3 killed it pretty bad.
well, I don't know.
I'll still need to pick up 4 just to check if it's any good. And by any good I mean anything like 2.
I don't know. I'm not an expert on those games. I've only seen clips of them.
I played the shit out of 2.
Oh, all right.
It had Alkaline Trio's Mercy Me in the menu and Symphony of Destruction and things like that. That's basically when I kickstarted my shitty taste.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't know about that. What were we talking about? Geralt and Soul Calibur, right?
Geralt,
Yeah,
Gerardo of the Riviera. Yeah.
yeah. I think he'll be. I think he'll bring some interesting new stuff to Soul Calibur, and I'm really curious because with Soul Calibur's 5, when they introduced Ezio, and Soul Calibur 4 when they had Vader and Yoda, and every other character on the roster was customizable, but you couldn't customize them. And
Which was pretty bullshit, but yeah.
but Tekken 7 has brought in, Akuma and Geese and Noctis, and they are very much so customizable. And you can have fucking Akuma and a Speedo with a car on his head, an SUV on his head. So I'm interested.
But as for the reason, as to why you would do that, we have no idea.
Yeah, but everyone fucking does for some reason. With now I'm interested to see with Soul Calibur 6 whether or not Geralt will be customizable. See if Bandai Namco has changed the way they handle, the third-party characters, or whether it's just going to be a Soul Calibur thing that you can't customize the licensed characters.
Hello, Pig.
Hey, Pink.
I'm finally here.
Hey. So, welcome, audience, to yet another episode where Pink shows up. All right. So we were talking about Geralt and Soul Calibur. What do you feel about that, Pink?
I'm fine with it, honestly. I've never played a Witcher game in my life, but he's not like a standing out like a sore thumb like Vader did, so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He looks nice, looks fun. Still not sold on those weird super things they've got going on. I don't know how long those have been in the games, but aside from that,
Since 4.
Good. 4?
Yeah, since 4.
Technically, but they've always been very out of place. Definitely. I know that Geralt's going to have crazy weird shit where he does things with like potions and magic spells and things, but in Soul Calibur 5, Nightmare for some reason got like a crazy shockwave attack where he fucking bursts into energy like a Dragon Ball Z character or something. So at this point, like, it's all bullshit.
By the way, is Geralt's like critical edge or whatever they're calling it now? Is his super move just
Are you leading into
I don't know, having sex?
Are you leading
Yes.
into a stupid joke where he like fucks the enemy or something, fucks the other guy or something?
Yes, that's actually where I was going.
Somehow I could tell what stupid joke you're going for. That's incredible.
I mean, you've known me for like 5 or 6 years now. You probably should be able to guess my shitty jokes.
Yeah. The answer, Addy, the answer to that question is shut up. All right. I mean, I'm interested. I'm really interested. And I think that Geralt, it's good to promote Geralt, I think, just because Geralt is more of a character than your regular nothing protagonist of a video game. He's better than a Call of Duty protagonist or an Elder Scrolls protagonist or what have you. And I almost would say he's better than Link, but I haven't played any of the Legend of Zelda games, and some of the Legend of Zelda games actually give him dialogue, I think. So I don't know. Let's see. Next on the list, we wanted to talk about Rainbow Six for a little bit because, I'm sure the audience won't get tired of that considering just how much we've got fucking backloaded on that video game. So
We're going to be looked at as a Rainbow Six channel in our early days, but
Yeah.
that's really not the case because we're not Rainbow Six pros or anything. We're just a couple of guys going onto that game and sucking bad.
and we do suck pretty bad. I don't know. At first, I
I
felt
did
like,
get 7 kills at one
yeah,
one
absolutely.
point.
I feel like you guys are going in the opposite direction than me. I feel like you guys are getting better and I'm getting worse. Cause every now and then I get a little sweet bit where when I go roaming, I sneak up behind like the entire team and wipe them with a shotgun. But for the most part, I go out and then I get shredded, or I sit in the base and then I get fused. So I mean,
I mean, that's just the thing with sitting in the base. I mean, have you seen how many times I died without even knowing where people are?
yeah, absolutely. Like I've noticed that seems to be going on a lot too, where you get the pros who will smash in all the windows, and then you get sniped from wherever the fuck you didn't even notice. So I mean, I don't know if at this point there's much for us to learn, and if at this point it's mostly just going to be practice and getting better at reflexes and getting better at aiming for headshots. I don't know, because I spent like a year trying to play Halo with my family, and I was never able to get that game down. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see, and I think we're going to keep trying with multiplayer, especially now that we can actually play ranked. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I think I think maybe I might need to get a new defense character because I still have not been able to figure out who I should go with. Because I go with Mute, but it never really feels like Mute can set up his boxes in time to keep out the drones. And setting up his boxes anyways tends to highlight where the room is anyways. So unless the enemy team has like no idea of the layout of the house, then they probably are going to just go straight for you anyways. Smoke, I like to try because he's British and he's got the British pump action shotgun that I fucking love that Sledge has. But with Smoke, like his ability is basically like a nitro cell that is kind of shittier, mostly because everyone knows to stay away from it. It's got the very obvious yellow smoke instead of the very easy to hide little nitro cell. So he's not really working for me either. I've tried Castle. The thing with Castle is that they can just use breach charges to break his shit. So he's got limited use on that front. And, I tried Rook. Rook, I'm not very good with his SMG. Pink is a better Rook than I am. So I'm thinking at this point I'm not going to pick up Capitao, especially considering, like, for offense, I've already got Sledge that I can play on offense. I have been trying to get into Thermite for a while, and I think I'm pretty good with IQ, actually. So I'm thinking on defense, I'll probably get, like, Frost, or maybe Valkyrie, depending on what she does.
Yeah, Valkyrie
I'm
can
serious.
put a camera
Go
up.
ahead.
Well, I know she can put up cameras, but I don't know, does she have to man the cameras, or will
No,
the cameras
anyone
automatic?
can use a camera. It acts like all the other cameras on the defense team, but you can manually place them in better positions.
Oh, that's probably good then, because while
Yeah.
everyone's still alive, I can't see that having much use because you probably want to keep your wits about you while you're still alive. But if the rest of the team kicks it, or if you die, then that's probably pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you could even put it in the main room that you're defending so that if you die early, then once they break in, you can mark their locations down.
Yeah, that's probably pretty good.
Mhm.
And Frost, everyone picks Frost, so I don't know. I'll
Pick up Lion or Finka. Or Fink, yeah. I'm not sure which one is defense, actually. I think it's Finka.
Neither of them
Yeah.
are defense.
Neither of them. Shit.
Yeah, it's the first ever one they released where it's just both offense, which means the next one is probably going to be both defense. Did I say both? Okay, Lion and Fink are both offense, and the next pack they're going to release are probably going to be both defense. That's what I think they'll do, unless they very clearly just want the game to be leaning defense. I don't know why they would want to have more offense operators then. defense, considering that it's a game where one side has to be offense and one side has to be defense. But
Yeah.
let's see. I might take.
There's Echo.
I might take Echo or I might take Ela because Ela seems to really fuck the people up whenever they step into her mind.
Ela is overpowered right now, I think. Or at least people are saying that they are overpowered, so...
Yeah, it's kind of crazy what she does. Because it just really shuts you down when she does it. And, like, it's especially a pain in the ass if you're playing as Montanya, because it'll actually turn off your extended shield for a little bit.
Oh.
So that means they can shoot at your feet to kill you. I might take that. Let's see. Echo, I've not seen Echo put to good use by anyone yet. So
I mean, we only had that one guy that tried to shoot you, I think. Try using Echo.
Yeah, probably.
I think we've had a couple Echoes, but I honestly have no idea what Echo does because I haven't seen anything noteworthy from anyone we've played with.
I think only one guy chose him and then he ran out to Rome and died.
Yeah, I think he did.
Doesn't that probably happen?
Yeah, Echo's thing I think is supposed to be that he puts out an airborne drone, like a flying drone, and it can disorient people nearby. But I'm not exactly sure. And I'd hate to spend all, 25,000 renown
Figuring
on a
it
character
out,
that I don't know
yeah.
anything about. So I'd probably stick to Ela or Frost. Or maybe Valkyrie. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to see who has the best guns. Probably Valkyrie, because she's got the fucking Deagle, and that's a pistol that can probably kill people with 1 or 2 hits.
I mean, is it coated in gold?
It might be. I don't remember. That's probably an unlockable thing. But, I mean, I think I'm going to have to find a new character on defense, definitely. But I think I'm probably the worst of the team at multiplayer right now.
I don't know, really, because, I mean, I'm fine with Capcom, but with Fuse they freaking shred me.
Yeah, Fuse, I feel like Fuse is one that the enemy team prepared for, just because he's the only character in the entire game that can kill an entire team easily,
Yeah, he did that once to us, so...
He tried to do that once.
Yeah, he tried, he only got me.
Oh.
Meanwhile, I used Fuse... Was it me or Addy that once got half of their team with a Fuse?
I think it was you, because I didn't get any team kills yesterday, so...
Alright.
Or, well, technically I did get a team kill against PSP, but that was before you joined, that was with my gun, so... It was
Alright.
also with Capcan.
Yeah, was that when you had the shotgun that you hated?
No, that was with the machine gun. He jumped out from the corner, and I instantly shot him. So then I not only had to deal with that teammate, but then I also had to get random up.
Alright.
Because that's why he jumped out from the corner.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody did shoot me with a shotgun yesterday. I don't remember if it was Addy or just somebody else we were playing with. But that did happen.
The fact that it's a shotgun...
I don't think it was me.
Yeah, I don't think Addy uses shotguns. I definitely hit you in the back at one point during yesterday's game, but I don't think it killed you. I don't think it downed you.
Yeah. There wasn't much friendly fire yesterday.
No, we're actually surprisingly good about the friendly fire thing, if only because we're all way too hesitant to fire.
Yeah, it's firing against the enemies that we have problems with.
Yeah. I feel like we should be getting more friendly fire, I don't know. I think I've got the most space for improvement, definitely. And we'll definitely try and keep playing the game, absolutely. We'll keep recording it for a while. because it's the only game that all three of us have and can easily record. And
Unity.
yeah, and Addy has a Elgato, so he can actually get it set up right. But I mean, we've got a lot of space for improvement, and I can feel the fans' rage. So, I mean, I hope they can deal with it because they're going to have to deal with a lot of it.
All the pros sitting
Yeah.
back watching at home thinking, these guys have terrible team composition. What were they thinking? And the answer
Guilty
to
Whale
that
was
is
right
that
all
we
along.
weren't really thinking because we had no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, I have no idea what qualifies as good team composition. To me, this seems like almost like the kind of game where you just pick who you're best with and go with that. But there might be a team composition thing, and we've been completely missing it.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
they don't even clarify the characters into specific roles. Like you don't have tank and defense and offense and support like you would in say Overwatch or Team Fortress.
I think speed and armor is supposed to try to signify that, but then it doesn't matter because everybody picks 3 speed heroes or whatever freaking operators, and then nobody aside from Montagne and the occasional Blitz picks three armor people
Ah,
aside from Fuse.
well, you
I
think
guess.
does Blitz have higher speed than the other Shield guys? He seems like he should have.
I don't know.
I feel like he might. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that sometime. But I mean, I feel like that's what we've said on Rainbow Six, and we've already said a ton on Rainbow Six over the course of the podcast and playing the game. So let's go
Yeah.
ahead and shoot back to the Avengers Infinity War trailer topic with Pink here. So I didn't catch a whole lot from that trailer. I don't know about you, Pink, but it seemed to me like, regular movie. Thanos is going to do some bad things. He's going to hurt some people. Doctor Strange is going to get tortured, and Star-Lord is going to be an asshole. I mean, that seemed all pretty obvious to me.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how much we can really talk about there, other than like speculating about what Infinity War is going to do. Which I think the big talk that everybody is doing right now is mainly revolving around the fact that Hawkeye isn't there.
Yeah,
Now-
he's noticeably absent alongside Ant-Man.
Well, Ant-Man, they've already clarified Ant-Man is not going to, because I think it's largely because Ant-Man and the Wasp will be
Yeah,
showing.
it's releasing
summer?
like after Infinity War, so they
Yes.
didn't have time for that.
Well, I don't think it's because they didn't have time. I think it's largely because if Ant-Man was in Infinity War and then had in between Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, it wouldn't be justifiable to be having, Ant-Man in his independent movie being like, hey, we're getting invaded by this horrible fucking cosmic god who intends to destroy all reality. Let's go stop some bank robbers.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if Ant-Man was aware of what was going on with Thanos, then he'd spend the entirety of his movie being like, aliens! Hank Pym would be like, the fuck? So, I get why Ant-Man isn't in there. Now, did you hear about the little filming leaks from Infinity War Part 2 that reveal what is going on with Hawkeye?
No.
Oh, I'm going to keep that. I'm not going to tell you about that then because it's really interesting. But I'm trying to hide it because since I'm the comic book expert of the family, like all my family is going like, hey, what's going on with Hawkeye? Why isn't Hawkeye there? I'm not telling you. I am keeping that a secret. I'm not spoiling that shit for you.
He's secretly turning into the Green Arrow.
That more than you'd think. You are more correct than you would think, Addy.
That's not good.
It'll be interesting. I think that for what Hawkeye is in the movies, he is very lacking in character. I mean, he's very much just the regular guy of the group, and that means that nobody likes him because he's mundane compared to the others. And what they're doing with Hawkeye in Part 2 is going to completely turn that around, and I think it's going to make people really like Hawkeye. I think this is their last-ditch effort to make Hawkeye cool in the movies.
Yeah, because they failed in all the other ones. Like,
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Whoever
like,
thought making him a shield agent was a good idea wasn't thinking, and probably wasn't reading any of the old Hawkeye comics or Avengers issues.
well, I mean, the thing, I'm fine with making him a shield agent. I just think, like, I think that they should have kept the circus stuff to some degree and then added the shield agent on top of it. Because I get why they got rid of the circus. I kept why they didn't. I get why they didn't really do the circus freak thing because it kind of makes it like, he's this guy from the circus and he's expected to hang with these superheroes, and we can take a secret agent more seriously than a guy from the circus. But I think that they should have done both. They should have kept the circus origins and say that, either Natasha or Nick Fury found him in the circus and recruited him, and go with that so that he still has the Carney kind of aspect to his personality, so he can still be the smart ass who thinks he's the greatest and thinks he's the, big showman that everybody loves, and he can still have the acrobatics. But also the acrobatics has the issue of the fact that Jeremy Renner is not an acrobat. It's much easier to fake being a skilled archer than it is to fake being a skilled acrobat. And I mean, the other thing with Hawkeye that they've never really shown off is there was a panel in like an old Avengers comic, like in the 70s, where they just directly said, every other Avenger is very, very good at one thing. Hawkeye is very, very good at many things. And they used that panel to roughly explain just bullshit why Hawkeye can pilot a fighter jet. But it established that why Hawkeye is kept around, because Hawkeye is good at everything that a mortal, just a regular everyday human, should be good at. It made him the Batman of the Avengers, roughly.
Yeah.
And Iron Man cried in the corner.
Iron Man was probably drunk at the time.
Probably, actually.
Iron Man vomiting in the corner, rather.
Yeah.
Or Iron Man vomiting in the suit. That's my favorite drunk Iron Man thing, when he vomits in the suit.
Yeah.
The faceplate is right there, so it just rebounds back into his own face.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest comical Iron Man drunk thing, though, was actually from the original Devil in a Bottle storyline. Pink, you've read the original Devil in a Bottle storyline, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because the most fucking comical drunk Iron Man thing was when he tried to stop the train wreck and just blew the train up instead. Like, just what the fuck kind of superhero is this? I'm reminded of the old days where Stan Lee directly said he was trying to make Iron Man as much of an unlikable asshole as he possibly could, just to see how much he could get away with it. I miss a lot of Stan Lee's writing. But, comics, I feel like comics are going to have an upturn soon. Not only because of the movies increasing their fame, but also because DC's got their head out of their ass, and Marvel has to get their head out of their ass sooner or later.
Yep. They're already doing another relaunch type thing, so.
Yep. And it's difficult to say whether or not this one will be an attempt at fixing or just another cheap attempt at getting more sales through a new #1.
Yeah.
Because they are bringing Wolverine back, and I feel like bringing Wolverine back hints that they're going to try and bring it back to the classic old days. And they're bringing Fantastic Four back, too, which is really weird.
Yeah, but did you see the new suits? They look like shit.
Oh, I haven't. I'll go look them up. But
it's like, I heard the Fantastic Four was coming back, and I was really excited. Then I saw what they were doing in the new suits that they're getting, and I was like, nope, I'm off the boat.
Yeah, the only results I'm getting are the Future Foundation suits, which I was actually fine with.
Yeah, Future Foundation suits weren't bad. I actually really like the Spider-Man one. Looked pretty cool. And, I'm more of a classics guy, so if you can streamline a suit like that and make me fine with it, you're doing something right.
Well, the Future Foundation suits, like, for modern costume designs, the Future Foundation suit had a lot of kind of classic comic book design styling to them,
Yeah.
But,
They were like egregious New 52 suits with all the lines running through them and whatnot.
Yeah, and the Rebirth designs are way better than the old.
Yeah. Any design would be better than those old New 52 designs.
Yeah, I'm glad Wonder Woman's back to gold instead of silver because I thought the
Yes.
fucking silver looked stupid as hell.
Hmm.
I fucking love Wonder Woman's new Rebirth design where she's got the huge, massive cape because it makes her look like an old Greek warrior really
Nice.
well. Like it's a full on like 300 Spartan cape, and it looks fucking sick as hell. But Flash, I haven't looked into recently. I can't actually recall what his Rebirth suit is, but I remember his suit easily being the worst out of the new 52, where it was just all those fucking lightning lines.
Mm.
And I'm really sick. I'm getting really sick of Flash's association with lightning because it's beginning to feel like they're kind of trying to think that that is his power.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just see him have him be a guy who runs fast instead of guy who becomes lightning bolt. You
Yeah.
know?
Though
I
it would make for
definitely
interesting
relate to
fighting
that.
against Thor.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thor, the god of speed.
Yeah.
well, Thor is, he was Marvel's Superman. Now I'd say Captain Marvel's kind of closer to that title. Did you
Yeah.
did you see where conveniently around the same time Marvel and DC both had major crossover comics that hinted at Marvel and DC being set in the same multiverse?
I feel like I've seen something about that. I was that with the recent Watchmen stuff going on.
I don't know how to. I think on DC's end it was tied in Knight's Metal thing because I believe it had Booster Gold like jokingly insults Alfred by calling him Jarvis, and it says, "Oh wait, wrong universe."
Mm.
And on the Marvel end, this most recent, their fucking bi-yearly big crisis event. This time it's Infinity Countdown, something to tie in with Infinity War, and it showed off a panel where Captain Marvel, the Carol Danvers of the 616 universe, has found a space stone. But then so has, an alternate universe where Marvel didn't die of cancer and is still Captain Marvel. In that universe, he found a space stone. And it's kind of cut off halfway, so you can't really see it. But it shows that the Captain Marvel of another universe, who is the DC Captain Marvel, Shazam, has found the space stone of his universe.
Uh,
So it was kind of a weird little thing where like Marvel directly showed a DC character on panel for a little bit.
yeah.
It was just
The multiverse references aren't really a new thing. They go back like all the way to the 60s, but it is always amusing whenever they throw those in. I like
yeah.
to personally in my headcanon, I do like to think that they are in in the same multiverse. You know, in a universe of infinite Earths, I do think that yeah, those guys are connected. They're just a bit too skewed off from each other. Like if you go back all the way to Earth Prime, DC went left, Marvel went right, and that's why they can't really join up anywhere.
Well, yeah, there's a big difference between Earth 1 and Earth 616.
Yeah.
But DC and Marvel had, like, they did have way back in the day, I say way back in the day, but it was like 2003, JLA Avengers, which I think actually is considered canon by both DC and Marvel. Like, I think the Avengers still have the Krona egg somewhere in the old mansion, and I think JLA Avengers was supposed to have kicked off a big character arc for Vision that I think may have led into Avengers Disassembled.
Oh, that'd be cool. I don't really remember the JLA Avengers crossover or how that would lead to Vision disassemble arc. So you'll have to refresh my memory on that, but yeah, that's pretty cool to know.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it myself. The main thing I remember from the JLA Avengers run, when the Justice League gets crossed over into the Marvel universe, Batman tells all of the Justice League members, like, don't interfere with anything, don't fuck with anything, you could tip everything out of balance here. And then Batman, after saying that, looks to the left, sees Punisher shooting a bunch of drug dealers, and like later it cuts to Batman has beaten the shit out of Punisher, and Plastic Man is yelling at Batman for having said something and then immediately disregarded it. I think they had a I think they had a Batman Punisher crossover way back in the 90s that also ended with Batman beating up Punisher.
Oh yeah, that probably happened. It was the '90s. Anything could happen then.
Yeah. I think Punisher
Spawn
tried
in
to.
Soul Calibur. But yeah.
Yeah, basically. Definitely not the weirdest crossover there's been in comics, because that title goes to Punisher Archie. Oh no, you know what was weirder than Punisher Archie? Predator versus Archie.
Did that really happen?
Yes, Archie versus
Yes.
Predator. It happened.
I I've
I love
seen
it.
pictures.
For some reason, the Alien and the Predator were getting into everything back then. Because Batman versus Predator was a comic, Superman versus the Aliens was a comic. It was weird.
Yeah.
Alien versus Predator.
Oh yeah, that one was supposed to be the worst of all.
The arcade game was alright.
Oh yeah, I always heard that, but the arcade game was super fucking weird because it was made by Capcom, so they introduced two fucking totally original characters they had made, and they're like one's a goofy waifu and the other's cyborg Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I remember both.
Of course, they had to put the Terminator in as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, Arnold was in the original Predator, so. And the funny thing is, that's the only time the Predator canon has acknowledged Dutch since the first Predator movie. Because every other piece of Predator canon treats Dutch as having just disappeared after the first movie. It's kind of weird, honestly. Because it's not like the Predators would have killed him or something because he knew too much. Because the Predators have a well-established behavior of actually rewarding people who can beat Predators. It's a whole thing. Alien
Yeah,
versus
like that black chick from the end of the movie. Alien versus Predator.
I've never seen that one, but I do think the ending of Batman versus Predator ended with Batman getting rewarded with a Predator sword, which I'm not exactly sure, but that Predator sword may actually still be hanging in the Batcave, so that may actually be a semi-canon storyline. I don't remember. With Batman, it's like, they can shove whatever the fuck they want in the background of the Batcave and make things canon. So whatever.
Yeah.
And I think Predator 2 ended with old Danny Glover getting like a Predator gun or something, right? Yeah,
I've never seen Predator.
you should definitely see the original Predator at some point because it's definitely one of the greatest action movies of the 80s and 90s.
Is the second movie the one in the city or?
Yes, that is the one in the city, and it's got Gary Busey.
Okay, I don't actually remember the ending of that movie. I just remember that it happened.
Yeah. I mean, not to stay on Alien versus Predator for too long because that wasn't even an intended. But I feel like it's worth noting with Alien versus Predator that their canon is so like fucky. They're pretty much like any other franchise is going to have goofy shovelware games that come out at some point, and they're considered entirely non-canon. You've got the dumbass games that come out and are sold to the kiddies, and no one really cares about them. The Alien versus Predator franchise is one of the few that actually considers most of the video games to be serious canon and a reliable source on like alien biology or predator society. So that's super fucking weird.
How much lore could
Yeah,
they
that
fit
is
into the
weird.
games back when they were on the Nintendo?
They've been coming out with Alien versus Predator games pretty consistently since then because they had the original 2 FPSs that came out on PC. They had the one.
There was one on this 360.
Yes, the one FPS that was on the 360 and the PS3 and PC where you could play as Alien, Predator, or Colonial Marine. They had a Bizarro strategy game that came out on PS2, which I played back in the day, and let me tell you, that game was fucking weird. And they've still got the Alien Isolation game that came out a couple of years back that everybody loved.
Alien Colonial Marines.
They got Alien Colonial. That's the one that is guaranteed not to be canon. That's the one that's guaranteed not to be canon because it directly fucking violates canon and resurrects some character that died during the original Aliens movie. I don't remember the name of the character because I've never actually watched the original Alien. Have either of you
Ripley?
been?
Or
No, Ripley survived to Alien 3, I think, before dying.
Okay, because I've never watched an Alien movie. I've only seen the Predator movies and Alien versus Predator.
Ah, all right. Well, the original Alien and the original Alien are supposed to be amazing movies, along similar lines to Predator. But I've never watched them myself either, so I am not exactly sure. I want to say it was the guy that was played Kyle Reese in Terminator that got killed in Aliens and they resurrected, but I'm not sure. I'm obviously the wrong person to ask. But that's enough of bizarre, off-topic Aliens versus Predator. The next
Just, where does Mortal Kombat X fit into the canon?
At this point, I haven't looked into it, but at this point, it probably does. And it's
But why though?
because what the fuck? I'd have to imagine with Alien versus Predator, the biggest issue is just that there's no one really overwatching the canon like there would be for comics or Star Wars or something. You know, you ain't got George Lucas coming in and saying, "Hey, all this shit's non-canon now. Deal with it, fuckers." So,
Yeah.
because there's no one really overwatching it, things are canon until proven non. So it's a whole mess, probably. Like there's probably nothing right now that isn't saying like the Predator and the Alien totally fucking showed up during Mortal Kombat X. By all means. And that inherently means that we got Predator versus Jason Voorhees and Alien versus Leatherface. So it's fucking weird.
Too bad that they blew Freddy Krueger on Mortal Kombat 9, because then we could have not only one but two horror villain crossovers in one game, because Jason versus Freddy and Alien versus Predator.
Well, they had Leatherface in there as well.
But yeah, but I don't think he had any crossover movies.
Oh, you're right. I didn't understand what you were saying there at first. Yeah, I don't think Leatherface had any crossovers, no. There was a crossover comic of Jason versus Leatherface, but I don't believe they had a crossover movie. If there was, I hope I would have heard of it by now. But let's see. The next topic, you said, well, you wanted to talk about games with gold, but
we discussed that already, so we can skip.
Well, it depends. Pink, have you played Super Hot or Trials of the Blood Dragon?
I have not.
Okay, that's that then. So, Cena challenging Taker. I have not been keeping up too much on this case, but I did see where Cena did a promo on the most recent Raw where he was challenging Taker to WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, I saw the promo as well, and that's about it.
Okay, so how old is Undertaker now?
Too old.
Definitely too old.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
52. 52 years old. Not quite Terry Funk age, but they're probably going to keep him going.
Well,
Kick
he
it out
have
again.
another century to go before he reaches Terry Funk age.
Oh yeah. Well,
There's another eternity until he reaches 30 funk age.
he'll have to devour the souls of the young if he chooses to reach Terry Funk age. But
Yeah.
it's weird to say in Undertaker's case, because Undertaker already looks as broken now as Terry Funk did at the ass end of Terry Funk's career. You know?
Yeah.
Terry Funk's career is still going, so...
Oh, I thought he retired finally in 2015. Let me look that up.
Terry Funk retires every second freaking hour.
Yeah. Like, he's had a couple of retirement matches in the past decade.
Terry Funk is 73, and let's see. Yep, he is still wrestling. He retired. He retired on September 17th, 2016, and then returned to the ring on September 22nd, 2017.
I told you.
That guy is honestly dangerously addicted to wrestling.
He is.
I told you he's going to die in the ring, not as a result of anything done to him, but because he's in there so friggin' often that one of these days he's just going to get in there and die. And that's how it's going to go.
Are you kidding me, Pink? Terry Funk will never die. Once every one of us is dead,
Okay,
Terry Funk will have one last match against Ric Flair.
What I meant to say is that one of these days, Terry Funk is going to crawl into the ring, and everyone else in the world is going to die. He'll be the last man on Earth, and he'll still be in that ring.
Terry Funk, when the
Yeah.
world ends, he is the one who collects the chairs, puts them up, and turns out the lights and locks the door.
Yeah.
And then comes back and still does another match.
Yeah, he wrestles on top of the world. And I'm glad I made that Sandman reference to absolutely nobody. But let's see. Yeah, Terry Funk. It feels like we've got turned from Undertaker to Terry Funk, but Terry Funk, have either of you guys watched, was it called Beyond the Mat, the documentary in the 90s that everyone kind of was really interested in, particularly because of how it looked at wrestling?
I've
I don't
honestly never
think I
seen it.
have. I might have seen parts of it.
Okay, because it's like, it goes into quite a few of the hardcore wrestlers that were big in the late 90s. It tries to talk about Foley for a little bit. I don't think it really gets too much into depth with him. But it mostly talks about Terry Funk, it talks about New Jack, and it talks about Draws. Which Draws, in case anyone has forgotten, I need to remind you, Draws
He's
is
living in a wheelchair now.
well, not only is he living in a wheelchair now because fucking there was a huge powerbomb botch that destroyed his neck, but Draws, I want to remind everybody, the only reason Draws really got pushed as a wrestler was because he had the ability to vomit on command, and Vince thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Didn't he get put in Road Warriors?
Oh, I think
He did.
I think they did try to push him as a second. Right, it was after Hawk passed away, but Animal came back, and Animal wanted to wrestle as the Road Warriors again without Hawk, so they put Draws as the second Road Warrior.
Yeah, because I think he was throwing up then as well. I don't remember if that's where it started, though.
Yeah, and I
I'm
guess
certainly no expert on Draws' career.
yeah, I'm not either. And WWE mostly likes to pretend Draws' career didn't exist because it creates a very bad name for the company.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is, with Draws, to me, that is most amusing about him, and I'm not going to say him breaking his neck because that's horrible and morbid. But I'm going to say the thing that's most amusing to me about Draws will always be that Vince saw him puke in his office. It's an actual clip they used in Beyond the Mat where Draws goes into Vince's office and Vince tells him to puke, and Draws fucking pukes in Vince's office, and Vince is like, "Now that's money."
Oh, man.
How
gonna
did
push
he
this guy for
possibly have thought
SummerSlam.
that was money?
Vince has all kinds of crazy fucking ideas. You got to keep in mind, he and that other fucking writer, I forget his name, they were the minds behind the fucking. Someone
Katie
help
Vick?
me. Katie
Incest
Vick.
angle.
They were the guys behind the Katie Vick angle, and we will always be able to make fun of them for that. That wasn't
There
Hunter's
was also
idea.
the incest angle.
That wasn't Hunter's angle. That wasn't Kane's angle. That was Vince's angle. Vince wanted to do the fucking incest angle with Stephanie, too. You're right. I'd forgotten about that because that's so fucking disgusting. I have to routinely drive it out of my mind. Good Lord. We're talking about the guy who ran after fucking... damn it. I'm
Kennedy?
always forgetting his name. Not Bob Backlund, but the other guy out of the old...
Pat Patterson.
Not Pat Patterson.
The other one.
The other one. What?
Right.
Did I say Bob Backlund? Damn it.
Briscoe. Isn't it Briscoe?
Gerald Briscoe, right. We're talking about the guy who ran after Gerald Briscoe with pants full of shit. This is the guy we're talking about here.
Yeah.
He built WWE into what it is today. He's also a gigantic jackass. I mean, so Vince is behind all kinds of crazy things. And I don't know what association he has with the company now, but I wonder if... I feel like with the Undertaker thing, bringing it back to that topic, I have to wonder with the Undertaker thing, who is behind this, because it doesn't really seem like a Hunter thing, you know? Hunter seems like Hunter would have been like, okay, Taker, it's time for you to go. I've got a whole batch of new guys I have been grooming. Let's bring them in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this would be a Stephanie thing or a Vince thing. I don't think it would be a Hunter thing. Because, I mean, Stephanie seems to try and handle a lot of the big business stuff, and she doesn't quite seem to know what she's doing, which is why WWE is a mess now.
Yeah.
Vince at the same time seems like enough of an old fogey that he'd be like, "Oh, Undertaker, the kiddies love Undertaker. They'll pay big money to see an Undertaker match. Come on, Mark, you can do it one more time."
Both collapse right there.
I don't know. At this point, I'd honestly think that Vince is probably in better physical shape than Taker, because
I wouldn't doubt it.
Vince is still a big bodybuilder, and he was 2 or 3 years ago. He was on cover of what was it, Muscle or Fitness or something.
Yeah, Muscle and Fitness.
Yeah, Muscle and Fitness, and he's still in fucking great shape, and he's not had to wrestle like Taker did.
Yeah.
Taker has been destroyed by wrestling because he is a big dude. He is 6'2". That wrestling like he has over the course of his life, especially the tombstone, will destroy your fucking knees. And let's not ignore the fact that he jumps over the ropes to the outside of the ring once a match.
Yeah.
That's a huge spot to do, especially for a guy who's 6'10" and 52 years old. On one hand, there is no. This is one situation where This is one situation where I can't be the devil's advocate. Ordinarily, I'm the devil's advocate for everything. No matter how much I disagree with something, I'll still find myself like, oh, well, they've got this point and this point and this point. I am the devil's advocate of the FOS, and a lot of the guys like Soon and Ted like to rag on me for it. But here I can't see the benefit. Let the match with Roman be the end of Taker's career, because that was as good as it's going to get. And people fucking hate Roman. So at this point, they need to put Roman is an entirely different issue. But if they had pushed Roman as a heel hard after the match with Taker, they could have turned Roman into something. Because at this point, the fans are just going to fucking hate Roman until Roman gets old. At this point, he's going to do what Cena did. Cena, they fucking resented Cena until about when he turned 38 and he started wrestling semi-regularly and mostly going for the smaller titles and wrestling the younger guys. The fans still hate Sheamus because they see Sheamus as being Vince's guy. Sheamus is not going to be appreciated until he gets old. And the fans hate Roman because they see Roman as being Vince's guy, and they are not going to appreciate Roman until Roman gets old.
So what you're saying is Roman needs to be a rapper.
No, I'm saying that either they fire Roman and get Roman to come back within a year so that Roman isn't perceived to be Vince's guy, or they push Roman as a heel, as a corporate fucking heel as much as possible, because the fucking idiot smart marks will fall for it easily because they're fucking assholes.
That's already the real storyline to them.
Yeah, they think that's the real storyline. That's like why Hunter has done so well as the corporate heel, is because they think of Hunter, or they thought of Hunter back then. Nowadays, they usually think pretty positively of Hunter due to his resurrection of NXT. But back then, people thought of Hunter as being the devil in fucking mortal flesh. And they thought he had married Stephanie only so he could get fucking, the top spot in the company. And they thought of Hunter as being big Mr. Corporate. And that's why Hunter worked so well for a good while as big Mr. Corporate heel, as the new Vince for a little bit. And of course, now it's floundering really badly, and Stephanie aren't really working that well because they're being pushed too badly as the big heels, and they aren't doing it as well as Vince did. And I mean, to some degree, Stephanie and Hunter aren't going to succeed as the big corporate heels as much as Vince did, partially because Vince was so comical with his hamminess. Because Vince would come out and be like, "It's me, Austin. It was me all along." He comes out with that stupid fucking Richard Nixon sounding voice. And Hunter and Stephanie are not that hammy. They're not that fun to watch in that way. And the other thing is, a lot of the reason why people hated Vince was because of the Montreal screw job. Because they thought Vince was honestly the devil who screwed Bret Hart out of his fucking family legacy. And Hunter and Stephanie don't have anything like that. It can be directly pointed to as a reason why they'd be shitty people that you should genuinely boo and root for their opponent.
I guess Daniel Bryan.
Well, no, because Hunter really. Well, firstly, I'd say that it's very obvious that Hunter has been behind a. I think it's very obvious that Hunter has been behind a lot of Daniel Bryan still having a living with the company. Because Daniel Bryan, is he still the GM of Raw?
I don't
SmackDown.
know. I haven't watched Raw or anything.
Well, yeah,
GM is SmackDown.
Daniel Bryan can't wrestle anymore, and he's still getting work with the company. And I think it's very obvious to just about everyone, regardless of your opinion of Hunter, that Hunter or Stephanie had secured this for Bryan after what happened to him. So this isn't a Montreal Screwjob situation. This is like almost the opposite. This is a guy who the company can't really get any more wrestling work out of, but they're still paying for him. They're still helping him to have a living. So I think that, again, we're kind of running into the situation where the fans don't really want to boo for Stephanie or Hunter because they're much better people than Vince ever was.
So what you're saying is Triple H will need to run around or run after people with pants that are full of shit.
Well, the stories go that Hunter always tried to help Vince with pranks, so we just need JR to talk more about that. Now,
Yeah.
realistically, what Hunter needs to do is he needs to kill a few. Then he can be pushed as a big heel.
Just take out a sledgehammer and start going to town.
Or
Yeah.
getting that fucking
Bring-
steal Rikishi's monster truck and run over people's cars.
Just walk down the ramp and break Nakamura's freaking knees with the sledgehammer on live television. I think we'd pop.
Yeah, I'm honestly the old hardcore Attitude Era audience like pop. They'd be like, they'd start chanting, "This is awesome" or whatever.
Yeah, easy dub.
EC Dub. They'd probably start chanting, "We want tables."
What's that? You want Taker? Okay, 5 more matches.
What is wrong with you, you sick freaks?
What would be interesting if they pushed Hunter as try to push the company towards a squeaky clean image as a heel, and like have him call the Attitude Era type fans sick freaks.
They could do that actually.
Do you know how badly that would get the Smarks to boo? That would be great.
Yeah, that's what Drew Gulak is kind of doing on 205 Live. That's why he's the best heel in the company right now.
Oof. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. WWE, we've said before, is in a really screwy spot, and they're doing some really screwy shit. Because, fucking Brock Lesnar is still employed. Brock Lesnar is still the highest paid guy in the company.
Brock Lesnar still is.
Yeah, just what the fuck? And now they're expecting Undertaker to wrestle at 52. Just what insanity is this? It's bullshit. And, I'm a big Cena fan, and I'd consider myself somewhat of a Taker fan. Once upon a time, the idea of a Taker versus Cena match would have been interesting to me. It would have been entertaining to me. But at this point, I am just so fucking worried for Taker's health. I don't want to see him get in the ring anymore. And I think that the Taker versus Roman match was a good end to Taker's legacy. Now, the Taker versus Roman match is probably secured that the fans will never like Roman. But it was a good end to Taker's legacy. He got beat by a young guy who was, young, full of piss, and he left the coat and the hat in the ring, and that should have been the end. I don't know.
I absolutely agree with that. That's why I wanted a more definitive end to Taker's legacy, because I knew that they didn't announce his retirement on Raw the next night, that they probably wanted him to go another WrestleMania or two. And I'm like, please don't do that, because that was a good enough ending. You should just stop it right there. Taker can't go anymore. He can barely go the past 5 years they've been putting him out there. It's just time to end it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's real fucking worrying? The most worrying thing is absolutely the fact that he left the coat and the hat in the ring. Because I have a strong feeling that means he's going to come out with some stupid bullshit this year.
I really want him to return with the micro gimmick just one last time, so I can have it in the games.
I honestly was thinking, good God, what if they bring back the American Badass and that's what they're leaving the coat and the hat?
I don't want the American badass. I want the big evil. There's a one slight difference.
Don't you fucking say Limp Bizkit.
No, not Limp Bizkit. The hair.
Oh, okay.
I hate the Limp Bizkit freaking entrance theme.
As you should.
And of course that's the one that they used in 2K16, and that's the only game that I have. So
Yeah, it's like his other one was so much better. I don't know why they ever used the Limp Bizkit theme in anything.
I don't know why anybody
Because-
uses Limp Bizkit in anything. I fucking love that part from the first Deadpool movie where Deadpool says to a guy he's torturing, "I'm gonna do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music."
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and apparently Limp Bizkit's music it's actually its own genre in metal called rapcore.
I believe it is, and I think it fits into the same category as Korn and Insane Clown Posse. Yeah, there's
I wouldn't know. I never researched it. I just know that there's so many freaking core things in metal. Like, there's even this thing called new metal core.
I don't know. I know that
So, yeah.
I know that the three bands we just listed off are all garbage and deserve to be grouped together. But yeah,
By the way, I actually think I saw a horror movie with the Insane Clown Posse.
oh, you probably have. They get involved in a lot of nerdy that they love, particularly wrestling. But I don't know. You said you wanted American Bat. You wanted Big Evil just to have him in.
Yes. I just want him to come out at WrestleMania, have like a freaking Magic the Gathering match, and then just leave. Like, I don't want him wrestling. I just want that version of him in the games.
Well, I haven't played 2K18, but I feel like they still have Biker Taker in the most recent games.
It's the long-haired one, the one I dislike.
They should just make it where you can customize the hair.
If
Yeah.
only.
I'm sorry, what, Pink?
I said if only. That would make things with outdated wrestlers so much easier if you could change the hair on them.
Yeah, more customization is always a good thing. Because I remember when I got 2K16, was that the game where Cody Rhodes had the stupid mustache, or is that? I know
That's
that
15 or maybe it's
2K14.
Oh, yeah, 14.
right. I know that every game that Cody Rhodes has been in recently, he's had something stupid. Like I just want the 2012 era Cody Rhodes back.
Yeah.
Like either the one with the the one with the face mask, which I always liked that as a gimmick, or the era immediately after when he was in the white gear with the trench coat, and he was just kind of arrogant and an asshole.
Yeah.
The mustache.
That was his prime.
Yeah, that was easily his prime. Like 2011, 2012 was the era of Cody Rhodes for me. The era of Cody Rhodes and Miz for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like every game since the new generation, like we either get Mustache Cody or Stardust Cody. Which I mean, Stardust is better. Stardust Cody is better than no Cody, but I'd still much rather have regular Cody with the white gear.
Yeah. Amusingly, I was more upset with Mustache Cody than I was ever upset with Stardust.
Yeah, the Mustache Cody was a stupid fucking gimmick. It really was.
Yeah. But then there's also things like freaking Mizdow.
Mizdow.
So
Mizdow was fun for what it was. I mean, Miz is the kind of character who should probably have a sycophantic character following him around. I mean, considering.
Yeah.
With Miz, the thing that just bothers me more so is is his beard and the hair, because I fucking hate the beard and hair that he has had since like 2013, 2014. I'd much rather have the 2010, 2011, 2012 faux hawk back, because it just looks so much douchier and fits his character so much better.
Yeah,
You know?
he's actually recently gone back to that after he had to do his movie, so he got his haircut again.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. That's good.
is Miz back to the faux hawk?
He
Pink
was
said-
when I last saw him.
Oh, thank God.
Alright. That's good.
I think I think whenever we talk WWE, there's always a big issue because all of us have more or less fallen off with WWE.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
The only guys left on the forum that watch WWE are Tom Johns and Ted, and we don't get either of them on the
And
podcast
Gog.
regularly.
Yeah.
Did you say God of
Yeah.
Gaming?
The crazy Australians
Yes.
also keep up with it, but they're not really of any use to us.
Yeah, I'd rather not have the podcast, open and we just get the loud, crazy Australians like, oh, we oh shit, oh.
Throw Taker on the Barbie.
We're gonna have a barbecue match. Throw your opponent on the barbecue. Oh my god, that was the worst joke I've ever made. Moving on, Jesus Christ.
Whatever the shit Matt Hardy is doing.
Do we really have to talk about Matt Hardy?
I'd rather.
No.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. All I know is that Matt Hardy's been doing this stupid broken gimmick for the last, 3-4 years. And
So yeah, remember what he did like 2 years ago in TNA?
no, I don't, actually.
That whole fighting with Jeff and stuff?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he's doing that, but with Bray Wyatt instead. That's it.
I feel like a Matt Hardy Bray Wyatt feud actually works because they are very similar characters, ultimately. But I don't know. I'm surprised Bray Wyatt is still working with the company on this gimmick because the Bray Wyatt gimmick seemed like something that would have died after a year. It seemed like a new generation type gimmick where it's like we're just throwing shit at the wall, whatever, who cares?
Well, I mean, what else can he do? He can be Husky Harris and eat people or something.
Yeah,
He's
The main
not
thing-
tall and he's not athletic. So what else are they going to do with him?
I guess so. Main thing whenever you bring up Husky Harris is I always remember 12 where he had no belly button.
Yeah.
You have no proof that Bray Wyatt has a belly button.
I suppose I don't. Well, there's probably clips of a Husky Harris wrestling back in the day that are plenty proof that he has a belly button. But I mean, I'm glad that Matt Hardy has some kind of gimmick because that's better than most wrestlers nowadays are doing. Because most wrestlers are coming out and they're like, "I'm a badass," and that's it. And we've talked before
Yeah.
about that, the bland "I'm a badass" gimmick. So
Yeah.
Matt Hardy's got something, and I'll give him credit for that. I feel it's a really stupid fucking gimmick, but it's a gimmick that exists. And Matt Hardy isn't a spectacularly bad wrestler. He's kind of mediocre, definitely. He's not entertaining because he's always been the less entertaining of the Hardy brothers. Even though Jeff Hardy is a much, much, much worse wrestler and probably a much, 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 much worse person, Jeff has always been the more entertaining of the two just because he's willing to commit suicide in the ring for your entertainment.
Yeah, which reminds me, they could have a Jeff versus Suicide match in WWE right now.
Suicide isn't wrestling with a WWE, is he?
TJP is.
TJ Perkins. He played Suicide.
Oh, right. There's been 3 or 4 different people under the mask of Suicide.
Yeah, like Homicide played him once, I think. I don't know.
Yes, and the bald guy that was in Saints Row 4, I believe, also played Suicide for a little bit.
Hulk Hogan?
No. Hulk Hogan was in Saints Row 3, you fucking dork.
Oh, right.
But
Wait, Angel wasn't in 4?
no, he wasn't. He was one of there were a lot of characters in Saints Row now totally for Saints Row 4. And the ones
Oh.
that weren't got killed immediately.
Because the only ones that I remember being in 4 are like Roddy Piper and Rob Van Dam.
I don't remember Rob Van Dam being in the game, but you're probably right. Roddy Piper.
He's the commentator on Genki's thing.
Oh, okay. I never did that. But yes, Roddy Piper was in the game, and he was kind of funny because he was like, it just comes out of nowhere near the end of the game. When it looks like it's your darkest hour, Roddy Piper comes out of the blue to save your ass. So that was kind of hilarious. But yeah, with this Matt Hardy thing, I mean, I don't know. It kind of seems surreal to me, honestly, that the Hardy Boys are back in WWE because that seemed like one of the things. Like we've been members of the WWE gaming community for like 8 years now. I mean, Pink has probably been around for like 7 years, right?
Uh, that I honestly don't know how long I've been around. It's like I think I was there before SVR 2011 even came out. That was back when I was like 12.
Oh, damn! You've probably been around for 8 years then.
Yeah.
I think I've been around for 6, and I think Addie has been around for 5. So
Yeah.
if there's one thing we know about the old wrestling game, is that there is always going to be a designated group of idiots that are like, I want Chris Benoit, I want Jeff Hardy, I want Kurt Angle, I want CM Punk. And now we are in a place where the next WWE game is going to have Jeff Hardy and Kurt Angle. And
The
And
current
Chris
one
Benoit,
does
but not
right
but not
now.
CM Punk.
the most recent one does have them, doesn't it?
Yep.
And like Punk is probably, I remember Sting being one of the ridiculous demands. Like, and now Sting's in there. And
Yep.
Punk's MMA career has got to explode within the implode rather within
In the next
couple
5
years.
minutes.
Next 5 minutes.
Yeah, rather CM Punk's spine has got to explode within the next 5 minutes. And then he's going to inevitably go back to WWE so he can get his royalty paychecks from the games and the merchandise. And he'll probably bring AJ Lee with him. So we've kind of entered this state where now it feels like almost like Chris Benoit is going to be the only one who's guaranteed to stay out of the game. And Owen Hart, unfortunately.
Just wait until he returns to the ring.
And that would be like the greatest thing ever if you were just to one day return and the whole thing was a work. It's like,
Oh my
what the
God.
hell did you do, guys?
Oh my God, they fucking murdered a small child and a woman for this wrestling angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I just feel like Chris Benoit isn't even worth joking about. I just fucking hate the people that still are fans of him, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I
The only thing I like about him is his team. That's the only thing that I know about him aside from the double murder suicide. So,
well, you know his finisher is the crossface, right?
oh right, that as well.
Yeah, that's what. And the
And
diving,
that he did a lot of headbutts. Yeah.
the headbutts that eventually killed him. But I mean, well, Owen Hart is probably going to be out of the games until his wife passes away. Once Owen's license belongs to his kids, they're going to give it away. WWE will be able to use Owen. But Owen is not going to be in a WWE game anytime soon. And like that one's definitely a sad one.
Yeah.
Like on one hand, I do want to play with Owen because Owen's probably one of the best guys that's ever wrestled for the company. On the other hand, I totally get why she's doing that, and the WWE did the entire Hart family really fucking dirty around then, but Owen especially, of course.
Yeah.
And it's totally understandable, totally justifiable for her to be like that, and for her to try and deny them making money on her husband's corpse. So, that's neither here nor there. And we're kind of veering off the Matt Hardy topic here because there's not a whole lot to be said.
With good reason.
Yeah. I don't know. Addie,
I mean, have you even seen his promo?
I don't care. I really don't care because Matt Hardy, like, the broken gimmick is like, it's cringy for me. I see it and it's like, this is so fucking goofy. This is so fucking dumb. I don't want to see this. And like, I cringe every time I see Kaza with his fucking avatar and his signature,
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, this is a thing that would have been popular 10 years ago when I was like 8 and it was cool to be edgy. But in the very ironic kind of era that is now, we would see this as something very, very stupid. This is the kind of thing that only would succeed in the goofy ass environment that is wrestling, where people fucking love Insane Clown Posse,
Which reminds me, when are they getting included into the Hall of Fame? Might as well.
Even Vince has higher standards than that, Addy.
Yeah.
Even Vince. I could see the Insane Clown Posse showing up to WWE and being, put us in the Hall of Fame, and Vince just throws a pants full of shit at them. A pants load of shit, I guess you could say. But, Eddie, what time are we at on the recording?
Alright, 2 hours.
I'd say that's good for a podcast. All right, later, folks. Have fun. Have fun. Watch more of our videos. Please, God, someone help us and watch our videos. Bye.
Don't have Vince throw pens full of shit at you, I guess.
That's pretty difficult to dodge, honestly. He's getting real efficient with that shit.